at that. Oh my. Oh my. Holy moly. Hey guys, and welcome back to Native Eats. Today I'm doing Thc Cupcakes. And what flavor? Chocolate! The best flavor cupcake. Here's what we're gonna do. Not a lot of ingredients. These are gluten-free. And so the star of the gluten-free show is gonna be coconut flour to this particular recipe. I love this recipe because the cupcakes turn out really light and fluffy, even though we're using dense coconut flour, because you don't need a lot and it goes a long way in this recipe. And it virtually makes these cupcakes healthy. These are gluten-free, paleo, THC, chocolate cupcakes. Need I say more? You're gonna get your oven cranked up to, we're gonna crank it up to 375. You wanna go ahead and get your 20 cupcakes ready. And I always advocate in the Native Eats kitchen to use, it's a little boring for the cupcake party, but there's no dyes in these. Always do a little spray on your paper, because otherwise half the cupcake kind of ends up on the paper. So the first thing that we're gonna need is we're gonna put together our dry ingredients over here. Half a cup of the coconut flour. We're gonna move on to the cocoa, and we're gonna do also half a cup of the cocoa. We have adopted the culinary grade cocoa here in the Native Eats kitchen when we make cakes and such. All right, so half a cup and half a cup. A teaspoon of baking soda and a half a teaspoon of salt. So a teaspoon and a half a teaspoon of salt in that. Mix that up. And you know, because it's a cake, let's go the distance, and we should run these ingredients through, because there's some lumps. And then, see, that's what the cocoa was a little chunky. All right. Now we're gonna move on to the lovely wet ingredients. So you will need a half a cup for this recipe. You will need 6 eggs cracked. The sugar, you'll need a cup of sugar, or maybe a little bit less than a cup if you don't like it too sweet. So I use the regular sugar, but you can use any other sweetener. I talk about monk fruit if you have if you're diabetic that has 0 sugar. So you could use the monk fruit if you're concerned about sugar. But I'm gonna use organic sugar. I need to beat the eggs real quick because we're gonna put it all in here. Okay, so those are nice and beaten. I'm gonna go with the sugar. And then we're gonna go with another, this is a half a cup scoop. So I'm gonna go with another scoop there. With a little bit of vanilla. Okay, and with this, we're gonna go with about a teaspoon of vanilla. All the ingredients that you need for this recipe. This is all you need for this recipe. That looks great. So we're gonna pour that in. And in with the oil. And I'm just gonna sort of drizzle the oil in. Twirl it. And you know, like a cake batter, I mean, you know I always talk about gluten-free batters and how they do like being mixed. Because this is not normally in my recipe, but I'm gonna put some baking powder in this because I want them to be really big. And I'm gonna put a teaspoon of that spun in. Really good. And then I'm gonna whisk it to get those last little lumps out. All right, so I'm gonna use this little ice cream scooper that I just put some of the oil around it with my finger so it slides off well. And this will just kind of give me some even cupcakes and not make a huge mess with the bowl. I'm gonna start off filling these about halfway to 3/4 of the way. Okay, so into the oven with these little beauties. I'm gonna go. And they look really, really good. We are gonna bake these for 20 minutes. And while I clean the chocolate and get ready to show you the icing that we're gonna put on these cupcakes, I'll be right back to show you that. All right, our cupcakes are chiming. Let's take a look. You can get one of these guys, of course. You guys know the trick, right? Make sure your cake is done. Perfect. I'm gonna put them on a cooling rack. And while I whip up the icing, but I got requests from little birdies in the Native Eats kitchen that they wanted the frosting to also be THC infused. And I thought, well, I guess since the cupcakes are THC cupcakes, I think I can make that happen. So I did modify the recipe a little bit for my little Native Eats spurts. This recipe calls for a stick of butter and 3 cups of powdered sugar. But we're gonna use 3/4 cups of butter and a 1/4 cup THC oil. So actually, we're not gonna use a 1/4 cup, we're gonna use 1/8 of a cup in this. And then therefore, you're gonna need to amp up your butter to make up for that. Okay, because it's normally a cup. So make it a cup of oil. And then we're going in with a cup of, a little less than a cup because we're gonna make up for the 1/8. Maybe like 2 tablespoons less or so of your good butter. Remember, in Native Eats, we always use, you gotta always get a good grass-fed butter. We're gonna use almost all of this in here. And then we're gonna get her mixed. You know what I'm gonna do? Get this wet one. Okay, and I did 2 teaspoons. Now, we're gonna get that going on a high speed, a little bit higher. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt once it gets going. So 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, you know, or a little pinch. Get a scraper, scrape the side. And you're about ready to bag it up for your black and white THC cupcakes. You're just gonna need a Ziploc bag if you don't have like one of those frosting bags. And get yourself whatever kind of frosting tip you like. In the refrigerator really quickly while you, and it's only gonna be for a second, but that second's really gonna count. Let it be cooling. Don't cut your hole too big. You don't really even need to do this. You can really go rustic and just. I'm glad that I only did the 1/8 of a cup instead of a 1/4 cup of THC oil, because tasting the frosting, it definitely would have been a little strong in that. I'm just gonna set this aside in the refrigerator because it's melting. And these are this is it, black and white THC cupcakes. And you know we gotta eat one of these puppies. Look at that. Oh my. Oh my. Holy moly. They are so pretty. So pretty. Like, if you want to have sprinkles and you're all natural, you can still have sprinkles and be all natural. And it will make your sweet treats so pretty. This is also a chocolate one. Chocolate ones are easier to get, all natural, obviously, and not having any dyes. And they taste really good too. There you have it. Our THC black and white cupcakes, paleo style. So tune into us next time for our next episodes, and keep watching and comment and like and subscribe us. Please, thank you, you're welcome. 3 little ways to be nice. And I'll see you guys next time on Native Eats.